Young people today are told they are freer than any generation in history, yet their attention, their time, and their identities are constantly captured by a relentless stream of algorithms and digital noise. The assumption behind all this noise is that a human being is a blank slate, waiting to be programmed by society. But the Islamic framework begins somewhere entirely different. You were not born empty. You were born with a fitra. This is an innate, divine compass hardwired into your nature, naturally pointing toward truth, meaning, and a recognition of a creator. Then comes adolescence. The body's limbic system awakens, flooding the brain with new desires for dopamine, status, and pleasure. Suddenly, this biological drive starts pulling aggressively against the direction of the fitra. This chart of neural pathways shows exactly what happens inside your head. During these years, the brain is highly plastic. Every time you scroll mindlessly, and every time you put the phone down to pray, a specific neural pathway is physically wired and thickened in your brain. That internal tension signifies the literal construction site of your soul. Your brain and your lower ego, the nafs, are actively battling the fitra for dominance. To ensure the fitra wins, the soul requires resistance training. Waking up for Fajr when the bed is warm, or studying when you feel entirely unmotivated, forces the higher self to govern the lower impulses. But you will stumble. There will be days when the lower desires overpower the intellect, and you choose comfort or distraction over discipline. That is where tawbah, or repentance, comes in. Islam does not treat mistakes as a source of permanent shame. Tawbah is an active, mechanical reset. It clears the rust, allowing the fitra to recalibrate and take the wheel again. Modern culture often insists that a failure defines your worth. The Islamic framework views a setback as a built-in prompt, a signal to learn, adapt, and turn back to the correct path. Your growth is measured by this relentless capacity to get back up, dust yourself off, and return to your original blueprint. When you step outside that internal battle, the external world often feels just as fragmented and existentially confusing. That confusion stems from an epistemological fracture, a foundational shift in how modern society decides what is true and what is false. The Enlightenment left us with a dominant assumption that autonomous human reason is the absolute, unquestionable judge of reality. We are taught to judge everything, including revelation, by the standard of our own finite intellect. Islam approaches truth differently. The Quran acts as the Furqan, the ultimate criterion. It serves to guide, discipline, and elevate human reason, rather than submitting to whatever society currently rationalizes. Modern life presents a collapse of proper order. You are navigating a world that has inverted the definition of truth. The goal here is not to abandon reason or reject science. It is to put human reason back in its proper, subordinate place. This vertical flowchart illustrates the Islamic hierarchy of truth. Authority descends clearly from Allah to revelation, which is recognized by the fitra, understood by reason, and finally expressed in action. Modernity flips this structure on its head. When human reason is placed at the absolute top, it must answer ultimate questions it was never designed to solve, questions of existence, suffering, and the afterlife. This photograph of the Andromeda Galaxy illustrates the divide perfectly. Science can meticulously measure the physical mechanics of these stars, but only revelation can provide the meaning behind why they exist at all. Inspiring. True intellectual freedom comes from engaging the modern world with an unshakable, revelation-anchored compass. That battle for focus and truth inside your own mind is actually the front line of a 1400-year civilizational continuum. Islamic history is not a secular straight line marching toward progress. It operates in cycles. Prophetic guidance creates flourishing societies, which eventually succumb to forgetfulness, demanding a new era of renewal. Look at the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus. When the hierarchy of knowledge was kept in proper order, it physically manifested as thriving, highly structured civilizations built on divine guidance. This image shows students in the courtyard of Al-Azhar. It proves how this exact revelation-anchored intellectual tradition was preserved and transmitted across centuries and continents. But the cycle eventually hit a systemic fracture. Periods of flourishing gave way to tyrannical rule, colonial domination, and the forced adoption of secular frameworks that broke traditional institutions apart. Understanding this historical rhythm protects you from despair. Worldly power shifts constantly, but the criterion of truth outlasts every empire. We live in a specific historical interval. It is an age defined by total access to information, yet suffering from a profound moral inversion and a severe lack of wisdom. The prophet warned of a time exactly like this. He described an era where remaining steadfast in faith would feel as painful and isolating as holding tightly to a burning coal. To endure that heat, you need a daily anchor. The struggle of waking up for Fajr is the literal, recurring victory of the fitra over the biological desires of the body. This is a photograph of pilgrims surrounding the Kaaba. Through daily discipline, your isolated, individual effort connects directly to this enduring global unity of believers, anchoring themselves to their Creator. Your destination transcends mere survival. You're training to become the complete, balanced human being Allah created you to be. Keep climbing and never let go of the rope.